He also had one...
Philip's hatred of Diana is well documented. Mohammed al-Fayed believes that MI6 murdered his son Dodi and Diana. He lays the blame firmly at Prince Philip's door.
Prince Philip will never have allowed my son, as an Egyptian, naturally tanned, will be the stepfather of Prince William and the future king.
A British Channel 5 television documentary investigated Prince Philip and revealed his early connections to Hitler's Germany through his sisters who married senior Nazi officers. It went on further to expose the sinister background of the man who now stands accused by Mohammed al-Fayed.
Prince Philip, Schleswig-Holstein-Sonderburg-Gluckburg of the Royal House of Greece, was born on the 10th of June, 1921. He was the youngest of 5 and the only boy. In 1931, the Nazis were on the rise. 2 of Philip's brothers-in-law were significant figures in the Nazi party. Philip of Hesse was a good friend of Goering. Christopher of Hesse was appointed head of the Luftwaffe Research Center in 1932 and later worked for the Gestapo and the SS. Philip spent a year with his sisters in Germany. Philip was homeless. Enter the man who was to change Philip's fortunes forever. Another of his mother's brothers, Louis Mountbatten.
Mountbatten was always playing long-term, looking for future advantage for the Mountbatten family. So, although he could never perhaps suspect it, it would certainly come off the fact that the young, handsome Philip, looking very Teutonic in a lot of ways, would almost certainly make a very vivid impression on the young Princess Elizabeth.
George VI wanted Elizabeth to have nothing to do with Philip. George VI, I'm afraid, saw right through him. He thought he was basically a ne'er-do-well out to grab his beloved, darling daughter. And King George VI did absolutely adore Elizabeth. There's no two ways about it.
Philip's German ancestry caused concern. Mountbatten was also aware that Philip might be more palatable if he was British. He lobbied hard for Philip's naturalization, and in February 1947, with the royal family conveniently in South Africa, the London Gazette quietly announced Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten, RN, had become a British citizen. With a surname and a British passport, all that remained was some unfinished business in Germany. After the war, sensitive documents were discovered in Germany in the castle of Philip of Hesse, Philip's brother-in-law.
As the Allied armies swept through Germany, that kind of material was going to fall into either the hands of the Soviet Union or the hands of the British. And it was the British royal family, in the personages of Owen Morshead, the future librarian, and Anthony Blunt, who were sent out there to acquire the documents and forcibly bring them back to this country so that no one else could find out what it was all about.
Begrudgingly, the king gave in. The engagement was announced on the 10th of July, 1947. In that instant, Philip stepped out of obscurity to become a public figure. Elizabeth may have been in love, but was Philip? On the eve of the wedding, the penniless pawn was promoted. The king would not allow his daughter to marry just a lieutenant. He became His Royal Highness Philip, Baron of Greenwich, Earl of Merioneth, Duke of Edinburgh.
In 50 years, Prince Philip has gone from the arch-modernizer to the arch-conservative. He's now more royal than the royals themselves.
I think he thought that Diana was beneath contempt. When she collaborated with Andrew Morton on his book, he saw all the work that he had done since 1947 to the House of Windsor just blown apart, smashed to smithereens.
I think 1992 was as much an annus horribilis for Philip as it was for the Queen. Behind the scenes, I think he was able to play a more active role than the Queen in the problems of his children's marriages, 3 of which either broke up or got separated or divorced in the same year.
If 1992 was bad, 1997 would make or break the monarchy.
In death as in life, Philip felt that Diana was a threat to the House of Windsor. He could see her achieving some kind of godlike status. He went out and saw those flowers outside Buckingham Palace, outside Kensington Palace, and he could see a myth being created overnight.
It was Charles who, sensing the mood of the nation, stood up to his father and insisted Diana receive a state funeral. Philip had argued for a private ceremony. For once, he had been overruled. It was a symbolic moment in his life as head of the family.
Just a few weeks after the 5th anniversary of the tragic crash in the Alma tunnel, a new scandal emerged, which has rocked the royal family. As a result, public support for the monarchy has once again fallen below 50%. The scandal was revealed as a result of the arrest and trial for theft of a former butler of Diana, Princess of Wales. The butler, Paul Burrell, was accused of stealing Diana's possessions after her death. The day before Burrell was due to go into the witness box, where he would have been able to give evidence under the protection of the court, an unprecedented, last-minute intervention by Her Majesty the Queen caused the collapse of the trial and, consequently, Burrell's acquittal. Burrell was stopped from giving evidence in court, but subsequently he was paid £300,000 by the Daily Mirror to tell his story. According to the Daily Mirror, Burrell spoke with the support of the palace. The Daily Mail claimed that the accusation of male rape was the real reason for the collapse of the trial. The Sunday Express went further, however, and talked of a palace secret that could bring down the monarchy. The rape allegations were made to Princess Diana by a valet called George Smith, who said that he was raped by a servant of Prince Charles. However, it is believed that George Smith made